In the dim light of the bedroom, a secret unfolded between us, a connection that felt both thrilling and wrong. Every stolen glance ignited a fire, a longing that whispered of the impossible. We knew the boundaries, yet the pull was undeniable, drawing us closer into a world where desire danced dangerously on the edge of propriety. Welcome to the secret world of hidden desires. Delve into the hidden tales of longing and desire that dare to cross the lines of loyalty. Life has a way of throwing unexpected surprises our way, leaving us breathless and yearning for what we can't have. Everything appears secure and familiar. But suddenly, like a flicker in the silence, everything changes. At first, it's a whisper, barely noticeable, but with each heartbeat, that sensation swells, wrapping around you until it consumes every part of your soul. That evening was charged with an unspoken tension, as Liam, my husband's father, stepped into our lives, igniting a whirlwind of emotions I never expected. I am Sophie, a simple woman in a quiet town in Oregon, where the heart yearns for something more. I am bound to Daniel, sharing a life and 2 beautiful children, pouring every ounce of love into our family. Our house stands close to the forest, and in those quiet moments alone, I sense the trees sharing hushed secrets, their whispers steeped in something timeless and forbidden. Yet, I've come to understand that the truest secrets lie not in the depths of the forest, but right beside us, nestled within the hearts of those we hold dear. Even though he had hinted at his arrival, Liam appeared unexpectedly. His rare visits had become a bittersweet ritual for us. He is a man consumed by his ambitions, working far away. Yet he always carves out moments to be with us, as if drawn by an invisible thread. That evening, I opened the door to him, a flutter of unexplainable tension coursing through me. He had always been so composed, but in that instant, his gaze held a spark that sent a shiver down my spine, leaving me momentarily breathless. After dinner, we lingered in the living room, the air thick with unspoken words and stolen glances. Daniel spoke of work, his voice a soft murmur in the dim light. The children were tucked away in their dreams, leaving only the flickering flames to bear witness to our stolen moments together. I fought the urge to glance at Liam, yet his presence consumed me, igniting a fire within that I couldn't ignore. His gaze felt like an unbreakable bond, drawing me in, and though it seemed utterly ridiculous, I couldn't ignore the sense that a secret dance was taking place between us. I struggled to absorb Daniel's words, but each time I looked up, Liam's eyes pulled me in, igniting a spark I knew I shouldn't feel. It was an inexplicable pull, a connection that felt both thrilling and wrong, igniting a fire deep within. It was more than mere curiosity, it was a pull, a whisper of secrets hidden beneath his guarded smile that stirred something deep within me. The night wrapped around them like a secret, shadows stretching across the room, whispering of unspoken desires. The air crackled around us, heavy with an unspoken longing that sent shivers down my spine. That evening felt charged, a whisper of something unspoken hanging in the air. But I couldn't yet grasp its true weight. As the laughter faded and Daniel proposed we part ways for the night, a wave of unexpected sadness washed over me. It was reckless, yet I found myself yearning to linger, to embrace the intoxicating pull that enveloped us both. Yet, I knew I had to resist the pull of my heart. I rose quietly, trailing behind my husband, leaving Liam to wrestle with his unspoken feelings. The night stretched endlessly, filled with unspoken desires. I lay awake, restless in the dark, my mind drifting back to Liam, the one I shouldn't crave. His gaze lingered, a haunting calmness that refused to fade from my thoughts. His voice lingered in my mind, hauntingly unforgettable. I fought against the whispers of my heart, telling myself it was merely a figment of my weary mind, a trick played by exhaustion and anxiety. Yet, it changed nothing. Within me, a feeling was awakening, one I dared not speak of. The next morning, I forced myself to wear a mask of normalcy. As Daniel and I shared breakfast, our laughter filled the air, but my heart raced with the weight of Liam's gaze, piercing through the moment, searching for secrets I dared not reveal. It was a silent dance, where unspoken rules hung heavy in the air, and both hearts raced, fully aware of the delicate game they were playing. As Daniel headed off to work and the children departed for school, I found myself alone with Liam, the air thick with unspoken tension. The house was still, the wind whispering through the trees, wrapping everything in a tender embrace of warmth and longing. No matter how hard I tried to immerse myself in the chores, my mind was irresistibly drawn back to him. I caught myself straining to hear his footsteps, the soft echoes of his presence, and suddenly it hit me I was longing for our secret meeting. He stepped into the kitchen as I stood at the sink, lost in the rhythm of the water and the fragile moment between us. His presence ignited a flutter in my chest, a mix of excitement and fear that left me breathless. I couldn't bring myself to look back, yet I felt his presence so close, sending my heart into a wild flutter. Sophie. His voice pierced the silence, sending a shiver down my spine. He was as calm as always, yet there was a subtle hint in his voice that stole my breath away. As I turned, our eyes locked, a spark igniting between us that felt both thrilling and dangerous. He stood nearer than I had imagined, sending a shiver coursing through me. His eyes held secrets, a depth that hinted at unspoken truths just beyond my reach. We locked eyes, the air thick with unspoken words. And in that fleeting moment, I understood that our bond had transcended the boundaries of family, igniting a spark that felt both thrilling and wrong. The words trembled on the edge of my lips, but fear trapped them, leaving me breathless. We were so near that his breath brushed against my skin, and in that moment, I felt utterly consumed by the intensity of it all. A tempest raged within me. I felt the pull of something forbidden, a spark igniting within me. And despite knowing it was wrong, I couldn't bring myself to walk away. Each fleeting look, each subtle touch from him pulled me closer, and I realized it was more than mere desire. It was a spark, a secret yearning that flickered quietly, like embers waiting to ignite. Liam looked away, granting me a fleeting moment to gather my racing thoughts. Yet I understood that this instant would haunt my heart forever. As I went about my tasks, each moment was tinged with the weight of his presence, the intensity of his gaze, and the haunting echo of his voice. It felt like the quiet before a tempest, a thrilling anticipation that held me captive. Even before it began, that day slipped away, but it left behind a whisper of change, a stirring in my heart that felt both thrilling and wrong. I knew it was perilous, yet the pull was too strong to deny. Everything felt ordinary, but within me, a secret longing was blossoming, slowly consuming my every thought. All day, I wrestled with the whirlwind of emotions that pulled at my heart. Cleaning, cooking, and household chores all meant to keep my mind busy, yet every moment of solitude pulled me back to thoughts of Liam. My heart raced, a storm of emotions swirling within me, yet the reason remained just out of reach. It was as if a secret bond was weaving itself around my heart, pulling me closer with every fleeting moment. As the sun dipped below the horizon and Daniel walked through the door, I masked my racing heart with a facade of normalcy. We shared a quiet dinner, our conversations dancing around the mundane, yet charged with an unspoken tension. Daniel spoke about work, but my attention drifted to Liam, whose eyes mirrored the unspoken tension that crackled between us. His quiet demeanor held a captivating allure, a tantalizing hint that he was poised, waiting for me to bridge the distance between us. After dinner, Daniel leaned in, his eyes sparkling with unspoken words, and suggested a walk. My heart raced at the thought, but the weight of exhaustion held me back, and I whispered a soft no. He gave a slight shrug, pressed his lips gently to my forehead, and walked away, leaving me alone with Liam, a bittersweet ache settling in my chest. The air thickened, charged with an unspoken tension, as if the world outside had paused, waiting for something forbidden to unfold. A rush of uncertainty washed over me, leaving a tingling sensation that I couldn't shake off. Sophie. Liam shattered the stillness, his voice steady yet laced with a quiet urgency that sent a shiver down my spine. "There's something different about you now. Are you okay?" This innocent question sent a shiver down my spine. My heart raced with emotions I couldn't name, feelings too intense to confess, even to him. Yet his words, laced with genuine concern for my well-being, caught me off guard and, to my dismay, stirred something deep within me. "Yes, everything is fine," I whispered, my heart racing as I fought to keep my voice steady. "I'm feeling a little worn out." Liam's silence spoke volumes, his eyes holding mine in a way that felt both thrilling and dangerous. In his gaze, I felt unspoken questions that left me breathless and yearning. We drifted into silence. Yet it was a silence charged with unspoken longing. It was charged with unspoken desire, a moment suspended in time, both of us yearning yet afraid to take that first step. There came a moment when the air between us crackled with unspoken tension, making it impossible to stay in the same room with him. My heart raced, and my thoughts spiraled into a chaotic dance. I rose from the sofa, my heart racing as I avoided Liam's gaze, and made my way to the door. I stepped outside for a breath, my heart racing, not daring to glance back. He remained silent, and as I stepped outside, the cool night air wrapped around me like a bittersweet embrace. The forest around our house whispered secrets, a serene backdrop for the unspoken tension that lingered in the air, as a gentle breeze stirred the leaves, echoing our hidden desires. With each step into the shadowy embrace of the forest, my heart raced, a wild rhythm echoing the thrill of the unknown. I inhaled deeply, attempting to steady myself, yet the air felt charged with unspoken secrets. I had to find a moment to breathe. I needed to grasp the whirlwind of emotions consuming me. This man, my husband's father, once a figure of ice and distance, now stirs something deep within me. Why was this unexplainable feeling for him stirring within me? These thoughts consumed me, leaving my heart heavy yet yearning for something I couldn't grasp. I ventured deeper into the forest, my heart racing as I wrestled with my tangled emotions. The path drew me to a hidden pond, a secret I had nearly lost to time. The water lay dark and still, mirroring the night sky, where only a handful of stars dared to shine. I sank onto a bench by the water, the wind whispering secrets through the branches above. In this quiet moment, my heart found a fragile peace. I shut my eyes, surrendering to a fleeting escape from Liam, Daniel, and the weight of my worries. But the peace was fleeting. Suddenly, I felt the weight of footsteps trailing behind me, and my heart raced with a mix of fear and longing. As I opened my eyes, a silhouette drew near, stirring something deep within me. It was him, Liam, the one who made my heart race and my breath hitch. A spark of something so intense yet so wrong. He drew near, settling beside me on the bench, silence hanging heavy between us. His presence sent a thrill through me, a mix of anxiety and a dangerously exhilarating awakening deep inside. A flame that refused to die out. We lingered in the quiet, our shoulders brushing, hearts racing in the stillness. The stillness enveloped us, yet within it, an unspoken connection pulsed, electric and undeniable. It felt like a spark igniting within me, quickening my heartbeat with every stolen glance. Within me, two emotions clashed fiercely, a longing to escape and a haunting dread of what awaited if I chose to remain. Liam's gaze met mine, a fleeting moment that sent shivers down my spine. In his gaze, I recognized a longing that mirrored my own. Their connection was electric, a hidden fire that burned too brightly to be concealed any longer. His silence was heavy, yet that gaze revealed everything we dared not say. My heart raced, tethered to a moment I knew I shouldn't embrace. We were like two magnets, irresistibly pulled together, no matter the barriers in our way. My breath hitched, a secret rhythm echoing in the silence. And I feared he might sense the wild thump of my heart. In that fleeting instant, a wave of fear washed over me. Terrified by the intensity of my feelings, I realized I was losing my grip on the boundaries that kept us apart. The longer I lingered, the more I felt the pull, a magnetic force I knew I couldn't fight much longer. But Liam, feeling the weight of my unease, pulled away first. He averted his eyes, staring into the shadowy depths of the pond, where secrets lingered just beneath the surface. The tension between us faded, leaving behind a bittersweet ache in my heart. I longed for him to take that first step, to let the undeniable spark between us burst into flames. Yet, deep down, he must have known how perilous this all was. "It's so serene here," he finally whispered, his voice steady and composed, as if the world around us had never shifted. "Absolutely," I nodded, my heart racing as I fought to hold on to my composure. "It's a place where thoughts linger, heavy with unspoken desires." His gaze met mine once more, and in that fleeting instant, I understood that this place was only the start of something deeper, even with the risks looming. I couldn't shake the feeling that tonight was just the beginning of something dangerously beautiful, a spark that would soon blaze into an undeniable fire. We lingered in that moment, wrapped in the warmth of our unspoken connection, until the night air whispered its chill, urging us to part. At last, I found the courage to rise, and Liam followed suit. We returned to the house in quietude, where the weight of our past lingered, unspoken yet palpable. Yet, deep down, I felt the weight of the moment, knowing it had altered the course of our lives forever. When we came back, Daniel was lost in dreams. I slipped under the covers, the chill of the night air from the forest brushing against my skin, awakening something deep within me. I shut my eyes, longing for rest that would not embrace me. I lay there, captivated by Daniel's soft breaths, feeling the weight of the moment, knowing that soon everything would shift between us. This night signaled the start of something thrilling, something that whispered of danger. Yet I found myself unable to turn away. Everything had changed, and there was no turning back from what had ignited between us. The next morning, I awoke with the haunting certainty that the night in the forest had been more than a mere dream. It was a reality creeping into my very existence, Everything around me felt achingly familiar, yet transformed in a way that stirred something deep within. Thoughts of Liam consumed me, memories of us by the pond, wrapped in silence and a longing that felt almost wrong. His presence lingered in my mind, a bittersweet distraction from the mundane. Daniel had slipped out before dawn, leaving me once more in the quiet house with Liam, the air thick with unspoken tension. The day started like any other, yet a spark lingered in the air, hinting at something unspoken and thrilling. As the kids left for school, I found myself alone, lost in the quiet of the house, my heart heavy with unspoken thoughts. Yet, everything around felt alive, drenched in colors that whispered secrets of longing. With each step Liam took through the house and every fleeting glance he threw my way, an unfamiliar spark ignited within me, stirring emotions I dared not acknowledge. The air crackled with an undeniable tension, a spark that pulled them closer despite the risks. All day, I fought the urge to cross paths with him. The thought of being alone with you again sent shivers down my spine, reminding me of that moment by the pond. I knew I wouldn't be able to hold back this time. Still, his footsteps echoed in the adjacent rooms, wrapping around me like a heavy mist, impossible to escape. As twilight fell, the sun dipping below the horizon, his voice beckoned me from the living room, stirring something deep within me. It felt serene, a delicate mask hiding the storm within, where unspoken desires lingered just beneath the surface. I stepped into the room, forcing a brave face, yet my heart raced with uncertainty. Liam stood by the window, his heart heavy as he gazed at the golden evening sky, a bittersweet longing stirring within him. The sound of my footsteps broke the fragile silence between us, causing his head to turn ever so slightly. "Sophie," he whispered, his voice barely breaking the silence, searching for the spark in my eyes. "Yes," I whispered, my voice trembling as the weight of the moment pressed down on me, each word a fragile thread pulling us closer yet keeping us apart. He hesitated, and I inched closer, drawn to the magnetic pull between us that felt both thrilling and wrong. The room was steeped in silence, the only sound a whispering wind outside, a reminder of the life that pulsed beyond our hidden sanctuary. As I stood beside him, the distance I had meant to keep vanished, and the air around us thickened with unspoken tension. Liam slowly turned to face me, and our eyes locked in a moment that felt both electric and dangerous. In that fleeting instant, I understood that escape was no longer an option. A flame flickered between us, one that refused to die out. His gaze pierced through me, sending a shiver of longing coursing down my spine. "Could you please share why you prefer to maintain some distance from me?" he whispered, his voice laced with a longing that made my heart race, as if he already knew the truth, but craved the sweetness of my confession. I inhaled sharply, attempting to collect my racing thoughts, but they slipped away, elusive and fleeting, like whispers in the wind. I couldn't hide the truth from him. I couldn't mask the storm brewing inside me, because I'm scared, I confessed, my throat tightening with every word. Liam nodded slowly, his eyes reflecting a depth of feeling that made my heart race. He stepped closer, and the moment his hand brushed against mine, my heart raced with a thrill that felt both exhilarating and wrong. The touch was delicate, barely there, yet it ignited a whirlwind of feelings deep inside me. As our eyes locked, a rush of longing surged within me, and I knew I was powerless to fight it any longer. Liam leaned in. His presence sent a strange warmth through me, confusing and undeniable, and I found myself unable to tear my gaze from him. In that fleeting instant, the fragile barrier separating us trembled, ready to vanish forever. I was uncertain about the outcome, yet there was one truth that burned brightly within me. I craved it. I craved him. His fingers brushed against my cheek, sending a shiver through me, a touch both tender and electric. The gentle touch sent chills down my spine. My heart raced wildly, a secret rhythm that felt too loud to keep hidden from him. This feeling was too powerful to keep hidden any longer. It consumed me entirely. Liam leaned in closer, and the world around them faded away. His gaze deepened with longing, and I felt the heat of his lips drawing near, a moment suspended in time. I felt the pull, the urgency to retreat, yet my heart whispered otherwise. But instead, I stepped closer, feeling his hand grip my face with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. And at last, we stood dangerously close, and in that fragile space, I felt the weight of a choice I wasn't ready to make. It was a moment that lingered, electric and unspoken. It felt like breaking free from every chain, every unspoken rule that held us apart. His lips were soft and warm, igniting a fire within me that felt both thrilling and wrong, a sensation I had never known before. Every fiber of my being whispered that the move was a mistake, that I was crossing a line I shouldn't. Yet in that fleeting moment, I was powerless to resist. Liam drew me in, his arms encircling me tightly, as if he were my only lifeline, holding me back from the dark void I had willingly stepped into. The kiss lingered, a deep connection that unveiled the passion we had kept buried for far too long. I matched his fervor, lost in the heat of his kiss, as his touch lingered longer than it should have, stirring emotions I fought to suppress. Igniting a forbidden longing deep inside me, I felt the weight of our secret. This moment held the power to alter our lives forever. In that fleeting moment, all I could focus on was the overwhelming desire I felt for the man standing right in front of me. As we pulled away, our breaths mingling in the air, disbelief washed over me at the intensity of the moment we had just shared. His kiss lingered on my lips, igniting a fire within me, while my heart pounded wildly, as if I had just crossed the finish line of a forbidden race. Our eyes locked, a mix of disbelief and longing swirling between us, as we tried to comprehend the weight of our actions. "Sophie," Liam whispered, his voice trembling with a vulnerability that sent shivers down my spine. "We can't." But I couldn't let him finish. Deep down, I understood his truth, yet I couldn't bear to let this fleeting moment slip away. I drew him closer, our lips colliding again, igniting a fire that felt both thrilling and wrong. This kiss lingered, igniting a fire within me, his arms wrapping around me tightly, frozen in that moment. I couldn't move, caught between fear and longing. We were drawn to each other, unable to resist the pull, even if it meant crossing lines we shouldn't. This moment was everything we had longed for, yet dared not confess to our hearts. In that fleeting moment, I felt the weight of our choices, yet my heart urged me forward. Unable to resist, a connection grew, impossible to ignore, yet too dangerous to embrace than before. As we broke apart, it was as if everything around us shattered into pieces. It hit me like a whisper in the night our lives would forever be altered, entwined in a way that felt both thrilling and wrong. This kiss was a threshold we could never uncross, and the uncertainty of where it would take us filled me with both fear and longing. Yet, there was one truth I clung to fiercely. There was no turning back now. Liam's grip loosened, his gaze lingering on me, a mix of desire and worry dancing in his eyes. The air crackled with unspoken words, a magnetic pull that was impossible to resist. Both of us were aware that we had crossed a boundary, yet this realization intensified the attraction between us. "We need to think," he said, and I nodded, my heart racing, unsure of what to say next. In that quiet room, charged with unspoken words, I felt the weight of a moment that would forever alter our lives. An electric silence descended upon us as our lips withdrew, laden with the weight of what we dared not say. I stood across from Liam, my heart racing, struggling to comprehend the moment that had just unfolded between us. What once felt safe and certain had unraveled into a whirlwind of emotions I couldn't control. Liam stepped back, an unspoken distance forming between us, heavy with unacknowledged feelings. His eyes flickered nervously, and in that moment, I realized he felt the same guilt I did for what had happened. But the undeniable attraction between us lingered, electric and dangerous. "We need to talk," he finally whispered, his voice a tender mix of urgency and restraint. "We both understand that this moment is wrong, yet here we are, caught in its pull." I nodded, a sharp ache blossoming within me. He was so very right. We never intended for this kiss to occur, yet here we are. And now we were bound by a secret that lingered between us, heavy and undeniable. It felt impossible to carry on, wearing a mask of normalcy, when everything had shifted between us in the most profound way. "Text, I understand," I whispered, battling the storm of feelings within me. "But what happens next?" His gaze met mine, and in that moment, I felt the shared torment that was unraveling us both. He longed to respond, but just then, the front door creaked open, and our hearts stopped in unison. It was him, Daniel. He was back sooner than I dared to hope. A chill ran down my spine, and I fought to mask the turmoil within me. Liam's face shifted in an instant, the mask of calm slipping back into place, concealing the storm beneath. "Sophie, I'm back." Daniel's voice echoed softly, drawing closer as he approached us in the living room, a spark of something unspoken hanging in the air. Liam's gaze lingered on me for a moment, a silent farewell hanging in the air, before he stepped away, leaving a bittersweet ache in his wake. I stayed frozen in place, a whirlwind of fear and guilt swirling within me. Daniel stepped into the room, and our eyes locked, my heart racing as I fought to conceal the whirlwind of feelings inside me. Hi, darling, he whispered, drawing close and pressing his lips softly against my cheek. Are you all right? I nodded, my heart racing, words escaping me in the weight of the moment. My heart raced, a secret fluttering within me, and I worried that Daniel might catch a glimpse of my hidden turmoil. Yet, he appeared completely oblivious to the tension hanging in the air. He was lost in his world, wrapped up in the tales of his day, oblivious to the spark that flickered between us. Liam lingered in the room, heart racing as he absorbed Daniel's words. But the weight of unspoken feelings pressed on him. He finally whispered an excuse, craving solitude to wrestle with the emotions swirling inside. As he walked away, a sharp ache gripped my heart, mingling with a deep-seated fear that whispered of what could never be. What would unfold next? The evening lingered in a charged silence. I attempted to maintain my composure, yet my mind kept wandering back to Liam, igniting a fire I knew I shouldn't feel. Daniel, blissfully unaware, wore a smile that masked the tension lingering in the air as the family found themselves reunited once more. We shared a stolen moment, lost in a film, savoring dinner, and whispering about the mundane. Yet it felt so much more. Yet within me, a tempest brewed, as darkness enveloped the world. I lay awake in bed, my heart racing with unspoken thoughts. As I lay beside Daniel, a heavy weight of guilt pressed down on me, making it difficult to breathe. I grappled with the consequences of my decisions, feeling the strain it placed on our relationship like a fragile thread. Yet, the memory of Liam lingered, his kiss igniting a fire within me, his touch leaving me breathless. It coursed through me, a sweet torment that kept me awake, a longing I couldn't escape. I slipped out of bed, careful not to disturb Daniel, and quietly left the bedroom, my heart racing with the thrill of secrecy. I craved solitude, desperate to unravel the tangled emotions of what had transpired. I stepped onto the porch, the cool night air wrapping around me like a secret embrace. Gazing at the starless night, I searched for the answers that felt just out of reach. However, they were nowhere in sight. Within me lingered a void, aching and unquenchable, a longing I couldn't quite understand. Outside, the world was still, yet within that stillness, my heart whispered secrets I dared not speak. I knew that our kiss would change everything between us. We had stepped into a realm that felt both thrilling and wrong. Now I had to choose how to carry this secret in my heart. A shiver ran down my spine as a gentle hand brushed against my shoulder, pulling me from my thoughts. I hadn't realized how lost I had become in that moment. But now, everything felt charged with an unspoken tension. As I turned, my heart raced at the sight of Liam. He lingered close, his expression tight, eyes brimming with unspoken fears. "Sophie, we need to talk," he whispered, his voice barely piercing the stillness of the night. As if afraid to disturb the fragile moment between them, I nodded, my heart racing, knowing that I could no longer escape this moment between us. We slipped into the garden, shadows of trees wrapping around us, hiding our secret from the world. Liam paused, his gaze locking onto mine, and my heart raced wildly once more. "This shouldn't have happened," he whispered, his voice laced with a mix of longing and regret. "Yet, I can't ignore the spark that ignites whenever we're close. I can't find my way, Sophie. I can't find my way. However, I firmly believe in one particular truth. We can't pretend everything is the same anymore." These words struck me deep, leaving a lingering ache in my heart. His truth hung in the air, heavy and undeniable, yet my voice betrayed me. Lost in the whirlwind of my heart, all I could do was gaze at him, my heart racing, as I wrestled with the weight of what came next. We stood at the brink, hearts racing, knowing that each move could lead us to the end. Now, what actions should we take? I finally mustered the courage to ask, my heart racing with a mix of dread and longing. Liam stepped closer, his hand brushing against mine once more, igniting a spark that felt both thrilling and wrong. The warmth of the touch sent shivers through me, yet it carried an echo of the doubt that haunted my heart. "I don't know," he whispered, his voice trembling with unspoken longing. "Yet, there's one truth I hold close to my heart. I can't bear the thought of being without you. Yet, I can't turn my back on Daniel. We must choose our next step carefully." Words escaped me, caught in the tension of the moment. We both felt the weight of our actions, knowing they would alter the course of our lives forever. We could break free from the bonds that held us or surrender to the fate that was drawing us closer together. Yet, the choice loomed heavy, demanding careful consideration. In the stillness of the garden, we lingered, the night wrapping us in its secret embrace. A whirlwind of feelings swirled within me, yet the words to capture the turmoil in my heart eluded me. This moment felt like the core of my existence, and I realized that every decision we made could forever alter the course of events. "There's no turning back now," I whispered, my voice trembling as it broke the silence. Yet, I find myself lost, unsure of how to take the next step. Liam nodded, a spark of understanding passing between us. Unspoken, yet electric. We found ourselves ensnared in a web of longing, with no clear way out. In that fleeting instant, I understood that my heart could no longer bear the thought of a life without the one who stood before me. Despite the challenges and heartache, I sensed our connection surpassing all boundaries and limitations. "We'll find a way," Liam finally whispered, his voice trembling with a mix of hope and longing. "We must confront the truth, both between us and within our hearts." I nodded, his words wrapping around me like a secret promise, igniting a fire within. In that fleeting moment, uncertainty loomed over us, yet I felt an undeniable pull to embrace this journey, regardless of the challenges that lay ahead. We walked back to the house in silence, but deep down, I knew that this moment had shifted everything between us. Now, we transformed into a unique entity, balancing between the boundaries of right and wrong. We had crossed a line, entwined in a connection that felt both exhilarating and dangerous. The next morning, I awoke, the weight of unspoken desires pressing down on me. In the whirlwind of the past few days, every charged moment with Liam, the stolen kisses, the weight of our unspoken words had grown too intense to deny. My heart raced, caught in a web of emotions I never expected to feel. Daniel slipped out for work once more, leaving Liam and me in the quiet of the house, our hearts racing with unspoken tension. The thrill of his closeness, the weight of our solitude, and the secret we shared had woven an undeniable tension between us. After breakfast, I tidied the kitchen, hoping to push away the thoughts that buzzed around my mind, but they lingered, refusing to let me find solace. Liam felt a stirring within him, a longing that was both thrilling and dangerous. His footsteps echoed softly in the next room, and I could sense his gaze lingering on me with every fleeting moment he walked by. The air crackled with unspoken words, and the weight of desire grew unbearable with every heartbeat. There came a moment when I understood that I had to take that daring step forward. I could no longer keep my heart locked away. The emotions I had buried for so long surged forth. Desperate to be free, I tossed the dishcloth aside, my heart racing as I walked into the living room. There he was, Liam, sitting on the couch, his gaze distant, lost in a world that felt just out of reach. As I stepped in, our gazes locked, and I felt the same intense spark in his eyes that set my heart ablaze. Silently, I edged nearer, my heart pounding wildly in my chest. In the quiet between us, our eyes whispered secrets that words dared not utter. In that fleeting instant, I realized I could no longer resist this undeniable pull between us. The overwhelming feeling overtook me, and I observed Liam engulfed by the same wave. He rose, and I moved closer, heart racing, our breaths intertwined. A fragile connection that felt both electric and forbidden. His hand lingered on my shoulder, and in that instant, everything else faded away. All boundaries had vanished, leaving only the thrill of the unknown. In every fleeting glance, a wildfire ignited, consuming us whole with an intensity that felt both exhilarating and wrong. Liam drew me in, our lips colliding once more, this time with an intensity that banished all hesitation. It was a kiss that ignited a fire, a longing we dared not conceal any longer. I matched that intensity, my defenses shattering as this overwhelming emotion took hold. His touch sent a comforting warmth through me, a reminder of our deep connection. He kissed me with a sense of urgency, as if time stood still around us. Lost in the intensity of our connection, we both felt the weight of the moment. The undeniable truth that we had ventured into a territory from which there was no turning back. His gentle touch conveyed emotions words couldn't express, heart racing with a mix of thrill and danger. In this fleeting instant, we were untouchable, bound by a love that dared to defy everything. Liam swept me off my feet, and as I clung to him, the thrill of our secret wrapped around us like a forbidden embrace, pulling us closer as he carried me down the dimly lit hallway to the bedroom. The path to the room was endless, yet my body was filled with intense longing. The anticipation was electric, a secret longing ready to ignite as we drew closer, yearning to reveal the desires we had kept locked away. As we entered the bedroom, Liam's touch was soft yet electrifying, and he leaned over me, the air thick with unspoken tension. His gaze ignited a fire within me, and in that instant, I knew he was willing to surrender all that he was. I traced my fingers along his jaw, savoring each line, each dip, as our lips met with an intensity that ignited something forbidden between us. He descended upon me, his lips igniting a fire as they traced heated paths along my skin. I shut my eyes, giving in to the rush, every nerve igniting beneath his caress. I could no longer suppress the ache in my heart. They surged ahead, unstoppable, like a tide of longing that refused to be contained. Liam's touch was soft, yet there was an undeniable power in his every move that ignited a longing within me. His hands danced across my skin, a gentle exploration that felt both new and intoxicating. With each kiss and tender caress, the world around us faded away, leaving only the electric connection between us. His touch ignited a fire within me as he ascended my body, his lips brushing against my skin until they finally found mine once more. In that fleeting moment, the world faded away, leaving just the two of us, entwined in a connection that felt both exhilarating and wrong. We intertwined, our breaths mingling, each sigh echoing the fire that consumed us both. His arms wrapped around me, holding me close, as our bodies swayed together, the pace quickening with every heartbeat. In that fleeting moment, I was willing to surrender all that I was, and I sensed he was too. We were two flames, drawn together, igniting a fire that felt both exhilarating and dangerous. I couldn't contain my emotions. And suddenly, the world around us burst into a kaleidoscope of vibrant hues. It was a fleeting moment, a spark igniting in the shadows, leaving a lingering ache in the silence that followed. As Liam tilted his head back, a wave of longing washed over us, and in that fleeting instant, we touched a height that felt forever out of reach. As the moment faded, we lay together, breaths mingling, my heart racing in perfect harmony with his. An unbreakable connection held us together, whispering secrets of longing and desire. This moment was all we had ever dreamed of, and I felt the weight of everything shifting between us. We stood together, quiet, yet the stillness between us felt charged with something unspoken. We experienced a moment of intimacy that was simultaneously exhilarating and unsettling. I turned to Liam, my fingers brushing against his cheek as our eyes locked in a moment that felt both electric and dangerous. In his gaze, I glimpsed not just desire, but an undeniable bond that had woven itself tightly between us. "We can't keep the truth a secret any longer," I whispered, my voice trembling in the stillness that surrounded us. Liam nodded, and in that fleeting moment, I knew our hearts were entwined in a secret we could never fully embrace. There was no turning back now. This moment marked the start of a secret we could no longer deny, a spark that ignited something deep within us both. We understood the weight of our choices and the shadows they cast. Yet in that fleeting moment, nothing else mattered. In those fleeting moments, being together felt like everything we ever needed. Days slipped by since that fateful moment when Liam and I intertwined, our bodies and souls merging in a way that felt both exhilarating and perilous. That moment was everything for us, a peak of unspoken desires and hidden glances. Yet it also ushered in a new world we had to navigate together, filled with both longing and uncertainty. I realized that this moment had altered everything between us. Everything between us would shift, losing its clarity and peace forever. We shared the same space, yet an unspoken tension hung in the air, transforming the familiar into something achingly new. Daniel was blissfully unaware, and that only deepened the electric tension between us. Every moment with him felt like a secret, a performance in a world where we didn't belong. I was lost in a role I never wanted to play. But the true spark ignited when Liam and I found ourselves alone, the air thick with unspoken words. These moments were charged with an intensity that felt both exhilarating and perilous. We both felt the weight of our secret, the undeniable pull between us that could no longer stay in the shadows. A choice loomed ahead, one that would alter everything we knew. But for now, we clung to every fleeting moment together, as if each second was a precious secret, a whisper of joy that could vanish at any moment. On a night steeped in silence, when the house lay still and Daniel was lost in dreams, I found myself drawn to the porch, seeking solace in the shadows of my thoughts. The night air wrapped around me like a secret, and I inhaled deeply, searching for a moment of peace amidst the chaos of my heart. My mind kept drifting back to Liam, to the moments we shared, and to the uncertain path that lay ahead of us. A flame ignited within me, fierce and unquenchable. It was something deeper, a connection that felt both exhilarating and wrong. It was an all-encompassing fire, a longing that wrapped around my heart and wouldn't let go. I felt the depth of my love for Liam, yet I was painfully aware of the shadows it cast, filled with challenges and unspoken boundaries. My heart raced as I stood there, lost in my world, when I felt the presence of someone approaching from behind. It was him, the one I shouldn't want but couldn't resist. He approached me, and a shiver ran down my spine as his hand brushed against my shoulder. Their touch sparked a sensation in me, a fusion of nostalgia and excitement that sent chills down my back. I turned to him, and in his eyes, I glimpsed the same whirlwind of longing and fear that stirred within me. "We can't keep doing this," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper, as if he could sense the turmoil in my heart. "We can't keep doing this, Sophie. It's too risky now. We have to choose, even if it feels wrong." Deep down, I felt the truth of his words tugging at my heart. We couldn't bear to stay in this realm of stolen moments and unspoken desires any longer. We stood at a crossroads, hearts racing, knowing the weight of our decision. "What should we do?" I asked, my voice trembling with restraint. While a storm raged within me, Liam paused, his heart racing as he weighed his words, the air thick with unspoken tension. His internal battle was evident, a silent plea for escape. Yet the anguish in his eyes revealed the truth he dared not speak. "I don't know," he finally whispered, "but I can't bear to watch you hurt like this any longer. We have to choose our next step carefully. Is it advisable for us to share our secret with Daniel?" His words ignited a fire within me, electrifying and dangerous. His suggestion caught me off guard, yet a part of me recognized the undeniable sense behind it. Our secret was bound to unravel, but how could I confess to Daniel the truth of that moment? What would his response be? Thoughts swirled in my mind, a tempest of longing and uncertainty, leaving me lost in a maze of unspoken desires. "It will ruin us all," I murmured, a shiver coursing through me. "Is this the best course of action for us to take?" Liam leaned in, his fingers brushing my cheek, and a rush of warmth enveloped me, igniting something deep within. "I don't know," he confessed, his voice trembling with unspoken hurt. "Yet, there's one truth I hold close to my heart. I can't keep pretending any longer. You hold a place in my heart that I never expected. I'll risk it all just to be by your side. Sophie." His words lingered in my mind, stirring something deep within me. His words resonated with an undeniable truth. Yet deep down, I felt the weight of our choice looming over us, ready to alter the course of our lives forever. There was no turning back to the life we once knew, but perhaps that wasn't meant to be. We stood there, wrapped in the stillness of the night, and I could feel the air between us crackling with unspoken desire. This moment felt like a secret we could never share, a shift that changed everything between us. There was no turning back now. "I can't keep this secret any longer," I finally confessed, my heart racing with the weight of my choice. "But we have to tread lightly. Just a moment to gather my thoughts." "Please," Liam nodded, a flicker of concern in his eyes, grasping that my request wasn't about retreating but about bracing ourselves for the storm to come. He held me close, his arms a shield against everything outside, and in that moment, I felt both safe and utterly alive. In that instant, I realized I would risk everything just to be near him, no matter the cost. In the days that followed, my heart raced as I searched for the courage to reveal my secret to Daniel. Yet, each time I tried to speak, an invisible force kept me silent. It felt like a weight pressing down, stealing my breath away. I felt the weight of my decision pressing down on me, a mix of longing and fear swirling within. I had to take that step, yet the path ahead was shrouded in uncertainty. Liam sensed the unspoken weight between us, yet he held back, choosing not to push me further. Our clandestine encounters lingered on, yet a heavy sorrow overshadowed the fleeting joy we once shared. We both felt the weight of the moment approaching, a choice looming that would alter our lives forever. One fateful day, with the house silent and Daniel away on business, Liam appeared before me. He appeared serene, yet in his gaze, I glimpsed a fierce resolve that took me by surprise. He stepped closer, his silence heavy with unspoken desires, and gently took my hand, guiding me toward the bedroom. My heart raced as I realized his desire. In that fleeting instant, my heart ached for it as well. We could no longer resist. We no longer concealed the longing that burned between us. I trailed behind him, a spark of longing flickering deep inside me. It was our fleeting chance, and we had to hold on tight. As Liam shut the bedroom door, a wave of relief washed over me, the air thick with unspoken desires. He pulled me close, and our lips brushed together once more in a lingering kiss. Yet this time, it was more than just longing. It was a fierce determination to unite, no matter the obstacles. In that fleeting moment, we felt the spark of something undeniable, something we could no longer push away. As we lay entwined on the bed, his hands gently slipped my clothes away, and I found myself lost in the intoxicating thrill of the moment. In those stolen moments, we became entwined, each heartbeat echoing the intensity of our secret connection. It was deeper than mere desire. It was the intertwining of two hearts that had long yearned to be together. Liam's birthday was meant to be a simple, intimate gathering, just the three of us in our sanctuary, a space that held both warmth and the weight of unspoken truths. From the moment the sun rose, an unsettling feeling washed over me, as if fate was weaving its threads around us. I knew I shouldn't linger on it, yet the pull was undeniable. I had to keep my heart in check. I chose to surprise Liam with something meaningful. It needed to be more than a simple gesture. It had to reveal the emotions I had buried deep within for far too long. The thought struck me like a lightning bolt, and I found myself unable to shake it off. I stepped into the store, searching for that perfect outfit to express the fiery emotions swirling within me, a secret longing that felt both thrilling and dangerous. The store was alive with alluring costumes, yet my gaze was irresistibly drawn to a daring latex outfit. Its skirt tantalizingly brief, paired with a mysterious mask. It felt like a dream. As he caught sight of me in this outfit, I felt a rush of unspoken connection, a spark that only he could comprehend. I tucked it away in my closet, a secret longing wrapped in paper, and penned a brief note for Liam, detailing the time and place for our clandestine meeting. I tucked the note into his bag with trembling hands, eagerly anticipating the moment when he would discover it. As the sun dipped below the horizon, we found ourselves huddled around the table, the air thick with unspoken feelings, celebrating a birthday that felt like a secret between us. Daniel laughed and shared stories, his smile bright and carefree, blissfully unaware of the secrets that lingered just beneath the surface. Liam appeared composed, yet I could sense the same flicker of longing in his gaze that mirrored my own. It was our little secret, concealed from the world around us. The dinner unfolded effortlessly, each moment perfectly aligning with the unspoken tension that lingered in the air. But everything shifted when Daniel suddenly recalled the important documents he had carelessly tucked away in Liam's bag. I was taken aback, yet I dismissed it, not wanting to linger on the intense emotions it sparked. As Daniel slipped away into another room, my heart raced, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. I busied myself with the table, but my mind wandered, tangled in a web of longing and what-ifs. A few minutes later, he returned, his voice steady yet heavy with unspoken words. "I need to leave urgently for the night," he said, a calmness that felt almost wrong in the air between us. "We must wait until tomorrow to speak, even though every moment feels like an eternity apart." His words felt like a binding vow, yet I found myself unable to protest. He hurriedly gathered his things, pressed a fleeting kiss to my cheek, and vanished, leaving me alone with Liam. A storm brewing, an unspoken tension hinting at the darkness lurking just beyond our reach, stirred inside me. When he walked away, the ache within me surged to an unbearable height. I sensed that Daniel was hiding something, but my heart raced with uncertainty about what it could be. As the evening unfolded, each glance from Liam carried a weight of unspoken tension, a flicker of something deeper that felt both thrilling and wrong. When the house finally hushed, I slipped into the costume I had secretly chosen, and Liam and I stole away to the bedroom. This was our fleeting moment, and I felt the urgency to seize it, knowing it might slip away forever. As I stepped into the dimly lit room, my heart raced at the sight of Liam, his presence both thrilling and dangerous. His gaze ignited with the spark the moment he laid eyes on me in the costume. I started to dance, the fire of longing igniting within me. It was a breathless moment, a secret shared between us, revealing the depths of our hidden desires. But in that instant, the bedroom door burst open, and my heart stopped. Daniel lingered in the doorway, his expression a haunting blend of fury and heartache. He remained silent, his gaze fixed on the moment that felt both electric and wrong. "What is happening between us?" His voice was a whisper, laced with danger and longing. Liam leaped from the bed, his heart sinking as the weight of unspoken truths pressed down on him. "You broke my heart." Daniel's heart raced as he lunged at Liam, fists clenched, emotions swirling like a storm inside him. "It's you!" My heart aches for him. The blows struck me with force, unveiling a side of Daniel that I had never encountered before. 2. Liam stood his ground, but the pain in his eyes revealed a deeper struggle, his heart torn between duty and love for his son. This battle was steeped in heartache and sorrow, and I sensed it would signal the close of all we held dear. In a moment of heated passion, Daniel's shove sent Liam crashing to the ground, the air thick with unspoken tension. I hurried to his side, but Daniel held me back, his gaze seething with a mix of anger and something deeper. "Leave, both of you," he whispered, his voice laced with a haunting serenity. "Part of me aches at the thought of you slipping away, yet I know this is the only way to protect what little we have left. Always." My heart shattered with every breath, yet I understood we were bound by fate. Liam and I slipped away from the house in silence, abandoning the remnants of a life we once cherished. We slipped away under the cover of darkness, the stillness wrapping around us like a secret, hiding the echoes of our forbidden moments. The details of our hurried departure are a blur, and I can't recall the words I whispered to Liam. Everything faded into a hazy swirl, as if these moments belonged to another soul. Not mine. We were like two shadows, slipping through the cracks of a broken reality, yearning to flee from what was forever lost. Liam drove in silence, a storm of emotions hidden behind his stoic expression, his gaze locked on the road ahead, as if avoiding the weight of unspoken desires. I searched his eyes for a flicker of feeling, a whisper of what lay beneath the surface. But all I encountered was a chilling, haunting void. Silence enveloped us, our eyes avoiding each other, our bodies yearning yet untouched. In that fleeting moment, words felt like a betrayal, an intrusion on the unspoken connection between them. We both felt the weight of the world shift, knowing we had lost it all: family, home, peace. Everything was different now, and the ache of what we could never have again lingered between us. Only memories lingered, entwined with a bitterness that seeped into our very souls, tainting the fragile echoes of what once thrived between us. We drove for what felt like an eternity, escaping the weight of our shared secret, the air thick with unspoken words and lingering glances. Yet, even with the miles between us, the shadows of what transpired lingered, suffocating us with their relentless grip. At some moment, I understood that this path had transformed into a representation of our escape, not just from Daniel, but from one another too. We both understood that the intimacy we once shared was slipping away, leaving a bittersweet ache in its place. We pulled into a tiny motel on the edge of town, a place where memories faded into the shadows, far from the echoes of what once was. The place was so ordinary and dull that it faded into the shadows, almost as if it were hiding a secret. Liam stepped out of the car, a sense of urgency evident in his movements as he approached the registration desk, the weight of unspoken feelings heavy in the air. I trailed behind him, a hollow figure, consumed by a profound, aching sadness that filled the void within me. We checked in and ascended to our room, its emptiness echoing the coldness of the building around us. It was just a fleeting escape, a place to seek solace for a single night. Yet we couldn't escape the truth of our hearts. The night lingered in a heavy hush. We lay on opposite sides of the bed, hearts racing, too afraid to bridge the distance between us. I lay there, eyes fixed on the ceiling, grappling with the whirlwind of emotions that left me breathless. It all felt like a dream, a haunting fantasy I couldn't escape from. We stood on the brink, hearts racing, unaware of the secrets that lay ahead. I shut my eyes, yearning for rest, but slumber eluded me, teasing like a distant dream. The memories of the last few days haunt me, each one a piercing reminder of what we can never truly have. I remembered our final exchange with Daniel, his voice laced with bitterness and sorrow. Understanding the depth of my impact on his life only deepened the ache in my heart. The weight of my secret pressed down on my heart, a haunting ache I couldn't escape. As dawn broke, the soft light crept through the delicate curtains, and Liam whispered that he had to go to work, leaving me alone in the room, my heart aching with unspoken words. As his footsteps faded behind the door, a deep ache settled in my chest, like the final strand tethering us was unraveling with each step he took. As I perched on the edge of the bed, the silence wrapped around me like a shroud, my heart racing with uncertainty about what came next. Our future was cloaked in mist, leaving only a haunting void in its wake. For days, I lingered in that room, lost in a haze of longing and unspoken desires. I stayed hidden away, lost in silence, avoiding the world outside. Within the confines of my four walls, I sought refuge from the world, yet each moment alone deepened the ache in my heart. Daniel lingered in my mind, his eyes a storm of disappointment and anger that I couldn't escape. The weight of his unforgiveness crushed my heart, leaving me shattered and longing for what could never be. On the third day, the papers came. sealing a fate that felt both heavy and liberating. I always sensed Daniel would seek a way out, but the speed of it took my breath away. He moved with urgency, a desperate need to cut all connections, erasing any chance for lingering feelings or remorse. The papers held no warmth, only sterile legal jargon, devoid of feeling and intimacy. Yet, nestled among them was a letter, penned in his delicate script. Sophie, you've become a ghost in my heart. My heart aches at the thought of you both slipping away from me forever. It's over between us. Let me slip away from your thoughts, just as you will fade from mine. Those words pierced my heart, leaving a mark deeper than anything I had ever felt. A sharp ache pierced my heart, and I understood that Daniel was gone from my life for good. This was it, the last moment, forever unchangeable. Now I was utterly alone, bereft of all that had once held my heart captive. Liam returned that evening, but the spark that once ignited our connection had faded into the shadows. He stood apart, wrapped in his world, and I felt the weight of unspoken words between us. We shared a silent understanding of our emptiness, yet we were too fractured to lean on one another. We shared a space, yet our hearts were heavy with unspoken pain. Days slipped by, and I felt the ache of his absence grow sharper as Liam slipped away more frequently, leaving me in the silence of my longing. He slipped away without a word, and I held my breath, afraid to break the silence. A wall rose between us, pushing us apart, deeper into the shadows of what could never be. I understood that everything was shattered between us, yet the thought of losing him felt unbearable. Every day felt like a reflection of the one before, a haunting repetition that stirred something deep within. I drifted through the room, a shadow of longing, searching for solace that always eluded me. In that moment of despair, I felt utterly lost, with no one to hold me close or whisper words of solace. Liam and I had drifted from the lovers we once were, our hearts now shadows of what they used to be. We were like shadows, lingering in the silence of our unspoken truths, tethered by the weight of our shared sorrow and unacknowledged desires. I started to understand that this moment we shared was fleeting, and that eventually, Liam would slip away from me. He had to leave to escape this haunting dream that bound us together yet tore us apart. As I watched him pull away, a heavy ache settled in my chest, whispering that our time together was slipping through our fingers, destined to end. That night, when the truth settled in, I felt a fracture deep within my soul. Everything I held close slipped through my fingers: family, home, love, leaving a hollow ache in my heart. Now I stood in solitude, the ache of longing stretching into the unknown. After the divorce papers arrived, an unspoken tension grew between Liam and me, a haunting sense of something precious slipping away forever. It felt as if a heavy mist wrapped around us, obscuring the way back to the fiery connection that once united our hearts. With every fleeting moment, our bond felt increasingly delicate, like a whisper of ice ready to splinter and scatter into a million pieces. We lingered in the same motel that had once been our sanctuary, but now it felt like a hollow shell, filled only with the chill of what we could never truly have. Liam's frequent departures for work left me in a quiet, aching solitude. I realized these business trips were merely his way of fleeing from the weight of reality, from the burden of a responsibility that had become too heavy to carry. With every passing moment, his absence stretched into an aching eternity. He came back late, weariness etched on his face, his irritation a wall between us, a barrier he didn't even attempt to conceal. A barrier loomed between us, rising ever higher, an aching reminder of what we could never truly have. We stopped dreaming of what could be, our hearts sealed tight, thoughts and feelings left unspoken between us. The connection that felt unbreakable began to slip through their fingers, leaving a haunting emptiness in its wake. I longed to reach out to Liam, to uncover the secrets he hid, but he kept me at a distance, guarding his heart like a precious treasure. His silence wrapped around me like a heavy fog, suffocating and filled with unspoken longing. Loneliness wrapped around me like a shroud, pulling me into a darkness that felt both familiar and inescapable. At times, I caught myself lingering in the shadows, yearning for a glimpse of him, clinging to the hope that our connection still flickered beneath the surface. Yet with every return, he seemed to pull further away, and I understood that my dreams were destined to remain unfulfilled. One evening, after Liam had slipped away once more, I found myself alone in the room, enveloped by a silence that weighed heavily on my heart. I couldn't remain here any longer, unable to endure the chill and the void that surrounded me. I stepped outside, craving the touch of fresh air. But even surrounded by the whispering trees and the gentle breeze, I felt an ache that wouldn't fade, All I felt was a profound, aching void that swallowed everything whole. As I stepped back into the room, an overwhelming emptiness enveloped me. Liam never came back. My heart raced as I sat on the bed, anticipation hanging in the air, waiting for him to arrive. Yet, as the minutes slipped away, each one felt like a painful eternity, heavy with longing. I started to realize he was gone for good. This revelation pierced my heart, leaving me breathless. He slipped away from me, just like all the precious things I once held close. Days passed, each one weighing more than the previous, yet Liam remained absent. Without him, the room closed in around me, suffocating and inescapable. Each moment stretched into eternity as I lingered in silence, my heart racing at the faintest sound, yearning for the echo of his footsteps just beyond the door. But no footsteps came. And with each passing day, the fragile hope slipped through my fingers, fading like snow under the warm embrace of the sun. On a day when the air felt charged with unspoken words, I ventured outside, my heart racing as I searched for Liam. I wandered through every spot we once shared, yet there was nothing left of him, just echoes of what we had. His absence left me alone in this empty world, haunted by memories that seemed too vivid. As I stepped back into the dimly lit motel room, my heart raced at the sight of a letter waiting for me on the table. His words, penned with a steady grace, struck me like a whispered secret, leaving my heart aching in their wake. Sophie, I can't help but feel this ache in my heart. We can't go on like this. Our paths have taken us in different directions. Is this what we want? What we shared is now just a whisper of what once was. Farewell. The letter was in front of me, and a wave of disbelief swept over me. This was the conclusion I had dreaded. Yet, it had arrived all the same. In that moment, solitude wrapped around me like a shroud, deep and unyielding. Every whispered wish, every stolen glance, and the uncharted paths we dared to imagine. In a heartbeat, everything crumbled away. I had no choice but to embrace this bittersweet truth. The room I stayed in now felt like a distant memory, a place where secrets lingered in the shadows. I had to leave to escape the haunting echoes of a love that brought nothing but heartache. I gathered the remnants of my memories, those bittersweet tokens of what once was, and slipped away from the motel, my heart heavy. Refusing to glance back, I wandered the streets, lost in a haze of longing. Everything around me was a stark reminder of the void within my heart. Everything I cherished had slipped through my fingers, leaving me adrift. Yet, I pressed on, my heart aching with each step into the unknown. Days slipped by, each one heavy with the weight of longing, until I stumbled upon a tiny apartment tucked away on the other side of town. I rented it, hoping for a fresh start. Yet each morning brought a haunting ache of what I had left behind. The shadows of yesterday clung to me, stealing my solace. I drifted through a world that had lost its warmth, a shadow of what once was, longing for a connection that felt just out of reach. I felt the weight of the journey before me, a path toward acceptance, a quest to rediscover who I was in this unfamiliar realm. Though I had lost everything, a flicker of hope urged me to carry on, even when it felt like the world was against me. Days turned into weeks, yet the ache lingered, a constant reminder of what could never be. Every day dragged on, a haunting dream with no escape in sight. Each morning, I awoke to a hollow ache, a longing that lingered, shadowing my every moment until nightfall embraced me. I felt ensnared in a haze, the warmth of the light that once guided me now just a distant memory. After Liam walked away, I lingered in the tiny apartment I had found in a distant corner of the city, the air thick with unspoken words and lingering memories. The apartment was tiny, almost suffocating, yet somehow it felt like an endless expanse of possibility. It held no echoes of my past, no traces of the home I had shattered with my own hands. It was a fresh start, yet each day unfolded a deeper ache within me. I couldn't shake the weight of my choices, each one echoing in my heart. My life had become a haunting loop of longing and sorrow. I had broken my family, betrayed the one who loved me fiercely, and ruined a bond that was meant to be cherished. The guilt clung to me, an ever-present shadow that whispered secrets of what could never be. I sometimes sat on the edge of my bed, lost in thought. What if I had turned away at the start? What if I had resisted the urge of my heart? What if I had stayed true to Daniel? Yet, those thoughts were in vain. Reality held me captive, unyielding and unchangeable. Each time I stepped outside, a rush of emotions washed over me, revealing how everything had shifted in ways I couldn't ignore. As I stood there, invisible to the bustling crowd, a deep ache settled in my heart. I felt like a ghost, drifting through a life that no longer felt like mine. In a world that felt foreign, I wandered through days that lost their color, yearning for the spark that had once ignited my soul. I sought a job, hoping it would pull me away from my restless mind. But nothing could ease the ache within. Each morning, I stepped into the world, searching for a place to belong. Yet every opportunity slipped through my fingers like sand. In that moment, everything felt like a shadow, and I was lost, yearning for something I couldn't quite grasp. Loneliness wrapped around me like a shroud, while despair whispered secrets in the dark. One evening, after a long day of searching, I felt a crack in my heart. As I sat alone, overwhelmed by a profound sense of solitude and sorrow, tears streamed down my face, each one a testament to the overwhelming emotions within me. It swept over me, drowning every ounce of my resolve, leaving only the ache of what could never be. Tears streamed down my face, each one a desperate attempt to let go of the emotions that clung to me, yet they only deepened my ache. I came to understand that beginning anew was far more complicated than I ever imagined. Every effort to create something beautiful crumbled under the weight of longing and remorse. The weight of my actions pressed heavily on my heart, a constant reminder of the line I had crossed. I had shattered not just my own existence, but also the hearts of those I cherished most, and that realization felt like a weight on my heart, impossible to bear. In the stillness of the night, I found myself jolted awake once more, haunted by shadows of my dreams. In my dreams, I saw Daniel and Liam, their expressions etched with heartache and longing. They turned their backs, retreating into the shadows, leaving me in the cold embrace of solitude. These dreams felt so vivid that I awoke in a panic, my heart constrained with a mix of fear and aching desire. One day, as I sat alone in my dimly lit apartment, a wave of longing washed over me. I knew deep down that something had to shift, something that stirred my heart in ways I dared not explore. I couldn't bear this feeling any longer. I needed to release the weight of my past, embrace my flaws, and take a step into the unknown. But that was a promise wrapped in shadows. I took the first step, yearning for something more, something I knew I shouldn't pursue. I reached out to a therapist, yearning for clarity in my tangled emotions and the courage to carry on. The initial moments were filled with tension. The memory clawed at my heart, a bittersweet ache that silenced my words. But slowly, piece by piece, I found the courage to let my guard down. I shared my deepest fears, the weight of my losses, and the struggle of carrying this heavy burden within me. The therapist whispered truths I had long avoided, revealing that while the past was unchangeable, I could still find a way to embrace its shadows. She awakened in me a longing for a fresh beginning, a spark that ignited my journey toward healing. Yet, to embrace what lay ahead, I had to find a way to forgive the shadows of my past, even when it felt utterly unattainable. The journey was filled with heartache and longing. I replayed my missteps endlessly, searching for the courage to let go of the past and forgive the heart that had faltered. There were moments when I teetered on the edge of surrender, believing I lacked the courage to carry on. Yet, amidst the shadows, there were fleeting moments that sparked a flicker of hope, a delicate beam of light cutting through the gloom. As time passed, I felt a shift in the air, a whisper of something unspoken. My heartache lingered, yet it dulled, a bittersweet ache that whispered of what could never be. I started to realize that my history didn't have to dictate the path ahead. My past teaches me to rise, even when my heart aches with what could have been. The journey was fraught with pain, yet I felt an undeniable pull to keep pushing ahead, despite the shadows that lingered. Each day, I found myself inching closer to a life I dared to dream of, filled with longing and unspoken desires. I stumbled upon a quaint little cafe, a hidden sanctuary where my past remained a secret, untouched and unspoken. This place became my secret haven, a fleeting escape where I could momentarily lose myself, leaving my troubles behind, even if just for a little while. I began to discover beauty in the simplest moments, the soft glow of dawn, the rich aroma of coffee filling the air, and the fleeting smiles exchanged with strangers. These fleeting moments, filled with unspoken longing, were my lifeline. I understood that some things were beyond repair, yet I felt a flicker of hope to seek a brighter path ahead. I started searching for the courage not only to survive, but to let my heart believe in others once more, to embrace the thrill of new encounters. It was a struggle, yet with every sunrise, I sensed a shift within me, a stirring of emotions I dared not fully embrace. At some point, I understood that the path to a new beginning could unfold slowly, each moment tinged with longing and unspoken desires. It unfolded slowly, a delicate dance of longing that demanded both patience and fierce resolve. I discovered the beauty in every fleeting second, even when it was laced with heartache. I realized it's not merely about our existence, but about embracing the weight of our choices, even when they pull us apart. In the end, I discovered a quiet longing within my heart. I faced my flaws and discovered a quiet courage to let go. The past lingered in my heart, a bittersweet echo, but it no longer held the power to shape my every moment. As I caught a glimpse of the light at the end of the tunnel, my heart fluttered with a forbidden hope, whispering of a future that felt both thrilling and unattainable. Every mistake carries a weight, a secret longing that tugs at the heart. We all stumble, and sometimes the fallout can be heart-wrenching. I let a moment slip through my fingers, and now I'm left with nothing but the ache of what could have been. In chasing my dreams, I turned my back on what was most precious, and in that reckless pursuit, I lost everything that filled my heart. I craved something deeper, yet in chasing that desire, I lost sight of the precious moments I once held close. I shattered the bonds that once held me close, unraveling my world with every reckless choice. Now, as I reflect, I see that my error lay not in the love I felt, but in surrendering my heart to the chaos it brought. Hold tightly to what you possess, for it may slip away when you least expect it. Don't let your heart's yearnings overshadow the things that truly matter. Desire can ignite a fire within, yet when it pulls you into shadows, the aftermath can be haunting. If only I could rewrite the past. Take a different road. But time is unforgiving. All that remains is the ache of what could have been and the lessons etched in my heart. May my tale whisper truths you need to hear. Don't let your heart lead you down the path I took. Guard your heart, for the flames of longing can consume all that you cherish. 3.